sugar, spice, and everything nice. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little girl. But Professor Utonium accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction, Chemical X.
What is Rally House exactly? Hey guys, my name's Dens, also known as Dens1000. I make mixes here on YouTube that are across the board, just EDM, electronic music, and Rally House has sort of become synonymous with my channel, mostly because it was one of the first mixes that I made on YouTube. It's kind of a new subgenre, and I get a lot of questions asking, what is Rally House? What does it sound like? How do I define it? And what sort of makes the sound? First off, I want to preface this by saying that genres splinter off into subgenres of subgenres and develop over time and evolve based on the communities and the environments that they sort of develop in. So use this as a guide to inform your genre exploration. If you enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like and a sub. I'm hoping to hit 100k subs this year, so that would be super helpful. Rally House at its core can kind of be defined by a few things. A 4x4 beat, pianos or synth stabs is sort of what people call them, and usually some sort of rap or vocal a cappella, something going over the top. And this is all sort of mixed through a lens of early PlayStation racing video games, which I'll explain in a moment. The earliest and probably most popular example of Rally House is Parker's Marlboro Club, which was released on November 3rd of 2023. And then you've got a song produced by a guy called Prod DTM, which is titled Rally House, and that was released on January 23rd of 2024. So then you've got this track called Vent by Noit. This was released on March 1st of 2024. Officially, but prior to that, it was a unofficial bootleg of Baby Keem's Vent, and it also featured a intro sample from GTA 5's non-stop pop radio station, which had Cara Delevingne talking over the top and doing ad libs kind of thing. And it featured one of those samples, and that seems to have gone viral on TikTok. I'm not sure exactly who added the ad lib. I'm not sure if someone on TikTok added that on top of Noit's song, or if Noit added themselves. That seems to have had a lot of connection with the Rally House stuff because GTA is all driving, it's a radio station, it sort of added a bit of video game vibe to it. So it sort of helped, I think, push this sound a bit more into the racing video game stuff. So with all these tracks, they all sort of feature 90s vocals, piano stabs, 4/4 beats, it's house music, and it's all sort of pushed through this like bit crushed, filtered lens, which kind of makes it sort of this laid back, cruisy sort of feeling because it's not so in your face. Think of this genre as sort of the chiller older brother to the phonk hyper chad TikTok edits that you see all over the place. When I came across these sort of tracks, I had just started creating mixes for YouTube, and I'd been following a few other YouTubers like Dedeco and Pizza Hotline, and they'd sort of been going down this PS1, PS2 jungle, ethereal breaks kind of stuff, and they'd been adding video game footage with their mixes, and I thought it was sick. The combination of piano stab sampling and the rally car racing aesthetics that had been used in the previous songs that I mentioned, it sort of just made sense to me to combine this new sort of genre with racing video game footage from the early 2000s, late 90s sort of era. The reason this made sense to me was because video game producers in the late 90s, 2000s had very limited space to work with. On top of the sound effects and the graphics and everything that's in the game, you had to make music. And so with this limited amount of space, by using samples where you pitch them up and down rather than having different samples for each note, you save a lot of space. And so this is how you get that early 2000s breakcore jungle aesthetic, because it all sort of works off the same principles. When I started to dive into the Rally House sort of genre and look for more music, it seemed like a lot of these tracks didn't really evolve too much from each other. They sort of lent a little bit too hard into the phonk TikTok style, and they kind of ended up just being rearrangements of themselves, taking the same piano stab sample and putting it in a different order, essentially. Something I find really important when making mixes is the ebbs and flows of the mix. So the ups and downs, they're kind of just as equally as important as each other. And so when I got into these rally house tracks, I noticed that a lot of them don't have breakdowns. They sort of fade in and they fade out whenever they want. They're incredibly hard to mix, and after an hour of it, you kind of just end up feeling like this is the same loop with this same amount of intensity. And I found it quite boring. And this is where I sort of got excited, because I was like, well, maybe I can help develop this sort of subgenre and find songs that sound like rally house but weren't necessarily made to be rally house. I started to come across a lot of cool artists like Lone, Dr. Gabba, Obscure, Kaisui, Jack Marlowe, and this is where it sort of informed and developed the mix a bit better. These artists all take inspiration from incredible record labels like Nervous Records, Trax Records, Strictly Rhythms, who were all coming out of New York, Detroit, Chicago in the 90s. Their tracks just sort of had a bit more energy, and they explored more diverse piano rhythms and piano synth sounds, and they overall just had more of a groove to it, which in turn made the mixes way more interesting for me. As I started to explore the sound and develop it a bit more across the 9 mixes that I've put out of Rally House, I started to incorporate a bit more of the UK garage and the new KG that's coming out of the UK and various other places. We actually have quite a lot of it in Australia. Shout out Osmosis Jones. And this sort of started to open up the sound a bit more to not strictly this 4x4 house beat. And it kind of became a little bit more about the vibe rather than very specifically these sounds. With all this in mind, you can kind of just say that Rally House is a subgenre of a subgenre inspired by Detroit, Chicago house with UKG elements thrown in there. And you've even got its own little flavor of video game nostalgia, CRT hum thrown in with it all too. I think someone who's doing it quite perfectly right now is an artist called Newfori. Their track called Bring It, I think, is like a pretty good example of what I'm talking about. Piano stabs, UKG elements, house music, video game aesthetic sound, bit crushed, vocals from rap, Memphis stuff. It's all sort of thrown in there, but they do a really good job of making it concise and interesting at the same time. At the end of the day, I think Rally House is just a really fun genre. I don't think it should be taken too seriously. It's very new, it's only a year old. And it's going to be interesting to see where Rally House ends up in a year's time, 5, 10 years time, and who's championing it. This is my first sort of talking educational video on the channel. I usually make Rally House, French House, glorpy beats, mixes. I plan to do more of this sort of stuff if you guys are interested. I love music, I love exploring genres, and I love history in itself. So I'm interested to deep dive a bit more into subgenres and stuff like that. So if you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment, sub. That'd be very appreciated, and I'll see you guys next time.